For me, I had an ego, I still have an ego, but to this day, if I see someone doing something that I don't know how to do, I'm gonna pick their brain, I'm gonna ask them what they do. Even with you, when you come here, I ask you like YouTube stuff all the time. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna defer to you on a lot of, for this podcast, titles, thumbnails, everything YouTube or social media related, I'm gonna defer to you because that's something you know.
Right.
So what I can do is when it comes to the business monetization, that's stuff where I'll kind of lead in. But as far as getting this off the ground, popping it off, I'm gonna defer to you always just because you know. And people have egos and they're too blinded by their ego and their ideas. They think they have the best idea in the world, but they have nothing to show for it.
And you have to have a level of humility, I think, when you're entering the space, even in business and in personal. Because oftentimes you have the people come in, you say, all right, well, I have a great idea. This is gonna work. I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure it works. If you haven't gotten to the point where you look at it like, wait a minute, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe there's somebody who's out there who knows a bit more than me. Sometimes I need to defer. Sometimes I need to confide in somebody else. Sometimes I have to take a step back and identify what it is that I'm good at. Because the ego will tell you, double down on your strengths, but then try to go and strengthen your weaknesses or whatever the case is. But oftentimes when you see successes, you just focus on your strength. You get somebody else to cover the weaknesses, but you have to identify what that is.
And you have to be honest with yourself. I think it's self-awareness as well.
Right.
Because a lot of people, they'll come, especially me, they pitch me all these ideas all the time on the internet. And they say, hey, I have the next $1 billion app idea. I'm like, cool. How much have you made on it? They're like, nothing. Well, how is it worth $1 billion then? An idea is worthless.
Right.
How the fuck can you say something's worth $1 billion if you haven't made any money with it yet? And one thing that pisses me off is a lot of people have the audacity to say, listen, invest in me first, and when it makes money, you'll get a piece of that. And to me, it's kind of like, I can do this without you. I can literally do this without you. Why would I pay you just because you have an idea? There's ideas every single day. There's millions of ideas. There's a reason none of them work. I have people pitch me ideas. This is the greatest idea. I listen to it. I'm like, it would never work. And they say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And maybe one in every 100,000 of those, they're going to be right. I don't know what I'm talking about. And they're right. And they end up being billionaires. 99% of them, they're just clueless when it comes to business. They're not willing to listen. They just think they have the best idea and they stay at the bottom, they stay broke. And
what's so interesting is, and I've had a moment like that once where I had a colleague of a colleague who had came to me with a business.
Of a colleague.
Yeah, a colleague of a colleague who had came to me with
That sounds like a multi-level marketing scheme.
Right, yeah, I know somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah, a colleague of a colleague.
Right, and he came to me with a business proposal and he was talking about, well, yeah, we got this clothing brand and stuff like this and everything like, yeah, you know, if I had a different brand that I worked with before and we were able to scale it up to a particular amount of money and we had all these excess amount of people wearing it. And the whole time I'm listening to him, I'm like, okay, so you had this clothing brand, you had certain celebrities wear it. That's all well and good, but you could just send them the free clothes and they could just wear it or whatever the case is. So I said, all right, we'll see where this goes. So a couple of grand in, sent in a couple grand to him, like, all right, yeah, I'll give a little bit of investment just to see where the things go. And nothing took off at all. And I just find myself almost feeling like I'm like a mafioso type of situation, because every time we see each other, I'm just sitting down like, hey, so how's the business go? Oh yeah, you know, I just got to work on this, got to work on. But the whole time, it's like you had an idea and you never really applied anything. You just assumed, all right, I'll just throw money at it. But you don't take into account the work that goes behind it. You just think off the basis of just your own ego, it's going to grow. Yeah. And that's not going to get you
People think
anywhere.
the world is centered around them. People think the world revolves around them. So they assume any idea they have, it's going to make money. We don't realize how much work goes into it. Ultimately, when I look at any deal that comes across the table for me, I look at MVPs. And I think a lot of businesses, when you think Shark Tank, all of this stuff, people say, I'm going to go on Shark Tank. Shark Tank looks for businesses that have proven MVPs, minimum viable product, something that shows that they worked. That's what they always ask, oh, what are your sales? If a company has sales, you know it's working somehow, and there's places you could fix it. If there's no sales, it's just an idea, and the only thing stopping you is money, usually a red flag.
Yeah, you got to start and be willing to fail. Yeah. I think if you're in a situation where you're not willing to fail, you're never going to be able to succeed. Like Michael Jordan has the quote where he says, like, he shot over 1,000 shots, missed over 1,000 shots. Things like that. You got to be accustomed to
I wonder how
fail.
many of these things, I hear so many quotes like that. Like Bruce Lee has the thing, I don't fear a man who practiced 1,000 kicks. I fear the man who practiced one kick 1,000 times.
Yeah, and so many moments, whenever I see quotes like that, it's symbolic. I think it's more in theory, because if you take it legitimately versus, just in theory, you'll be in a situation where you're sitting there like, oh, so I got to fail 1,000 times in order to succeed. No, it's the meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Because if you've never tasted that failure, you won't really enjoy the success. You ever seen somebody who just keep winning? Like everything they try, they just keep winning.
LeBron James.
Well, he had his downside.
Drake.
Drake, to a certain degree.
Rene Lacade.
You've been winning a good period of time. Yeah, I mean, the beard, it doesn't connect yet. But I mean, soon enough, you work toward where you got to get to. But yeah, it's like, you have to be willing to fail.
But also a part of that too, is even people that seem like they're always winning, they're only broadcasting the wins.
Right.
I guarantee they're losing a lot. They're taking a bunch of L's, they're just not showing you.
And you know what's funny? If you show the L's, you have so much more transparency.
Facts.
And legitimacy with the audience. Because if imagine you're somebody who just all you do is just post failure all the time. Like all you talk about is your failure all the time. When you finally get that win, oh my God, this guy won.
True, if you build an audience of like losing, a good example, I think there was a cartoon, I'm not sure what it was. It was something similar to Tom and Jerry, let's say, where he always fails to catch the mouse.
Right.
If at the very end he finally caught the mouse, people would be like, wow, I'm happy for him. He's been working at it so hard. Even though he's doing probably eating the mouse, it's kind of fucked up. But like people would be like, wow, he finally did it. And I think that just equates to life. If you're posting all your failures, hey, I'm struggling. And then you post that big win, people would love that.
Yeah, it's like in sports when you have the person who keeps losing, so then they start to say this person deserves to win. And once you build up that rapport with the audience, because truly in life, nobody deserves anything.
Yeah.
You have to earn everything.
Everything is earned. I need to prove
Everything
so
is
bad.
earned. Yeah, so since everything has to be earned, you're in a situation where if you feel as if you have to be deserved. I'm just going, it's me and you guys right now. So if you feel as if you're in a position where, man, I deserve this because I'm owed this for the way that I've lived my life. That's the wrong mentality to have. You have to earn everything in life. Nobody's gonna hand anything to you. So with that being the case, you gotta go out there and fail. You have to try things and fail. Of course, success isn't a guarantee, but if you don't try anything, then where the hell are you gonna go? You can't just sit over here with ideas in your mind all day, no application. It's like communication without comprehension, information without application. What are you doing? You're just sitting on a gold mine of something that can work, and then you don't put in the work to make it happen. And that's one of the biggest problems that happen because we got egos that we haven't earned. I think you got to earn the right to have an ego. I don't think you could just wake up in the morning, you say, all right, I'm this big boastful individual. I got all this great ideas. I will be a millionaire. I'll be a billionaire, all this other stuff. That's great thoughts. But if you don't got the track record, you haven't done the work, then what? It's just empty promises. You're just in a situation where you're just talking. It's all lip service. So you don't want to be that type of person. It's a terrible way to live. All right. And moreover, your friends are probably going to outgrow you, because you're just somebody who's a talker and not a doer. Those are the worst people to be around. I can't stand people
Okay, so
like
I got to
that.
add to that. I'm fresh, I'm empty. Hopefully, David, we didn't get that right. I covered my mic this time.
Yeah, I heard the flush, but...
Okay, perfect. Perfect. No, so what you said there is a huge one. There's a lot of people that are always, I've been grinding. I'm like, where's the results? Man, I've been grinding, I've been trying. They say this over and over and over again. All they do is hustle, grind. They never have any traction or results because they're not really grinding. Or if they are grinding, they're not working smart. They're just on a treadmill, right? A lot of times people are on a treadmill. This hustle culture is not toxic. It's only toxic when you're on the treadmill, when you're hustling for nothing, when there's no end goal.